A delicate, melancholic piano melody begins, layered with the faint sound of rain. A soft, slightly accented voice begins, laced with wistful sadness. Oh, darling, you wouldn't believe the things one endures in the pursuit of merely existing comfortably. It's truly astounding. You see, I've always held this deeply ingrained belief, a sort of moral imperative. If you will, that basic human decency, shouldn't tea be a negotiable commodity? Especially not when one has, shall we say, invested in a service. It's a concept, isn't it? Investment. The expectation of return, even if that return is simply respect. But oh, how profoundly naive I was. Allow me to recount my recent, shall we say, disentanglement with the premier in Dubai, Ibn Battuta Mall. It all started with a rather pressing engagement. My schedule, you understand, is frightfully demanding. A whirlwind of gallery openings, bespoke tailoring appointments, yacht viewings, the usual. Dubai was simply a layover, a necessary inconvenience. I had anticipated a sanctuary, a brief respite from the sheer exhaustion of maintaining a perfectly curated existence. A haven, a slight, ironic chuckle. I did my due diligence, of course. Hours spent poring over online reviews, weeding through the cacophony of opinions, seeking validity. A flickering ember of hope. Most seemed acceptable. But oh, how easily one is led astray by the glittering facade of online approval. You see, the internet is a curated reality, a Potemkin village of manufactured contentment. Everyone wants to appear happy, don't they? It is simply dreadful. I arrived. The lobby, a sort of beige purgatory, immediately set my nerves on edge. Beige, darling, is the color of disappointment. It lacks ambition, substance. It is the color of surrender. But I persevered, clinging to the last vestiges of optimism. That is, until my departure. It was a mere 10 minutes. 10 minutes, can you believe it? A negligible sliver of time in the grand tapestry of existence. But those 10 minutes, oh, those 10 minutes. I had a flight to catch, naturally, a private jet, but even that can't absolve me of the indignity to follow. I requested a slight extension at the front desk, a simple courtesy, a request born of practicality, not malice. And then came them. Abdul and Rashid, names I now associate with a creeping sense of existential dread. You see, their behavior wasn't merely unprofessional, it was performative. An exaggerated display of officiousness, as if I had personally insulted their lineage. They demanded, darling, demanded, extra payment for being a paltry 15 minutes over the allotted time. 15 minutes. It's the time it takes to apply a fresh coat of lipstick, to compose a truly devastating tweet. A sigh, heavy with exasperation, I attempted to reason with them, to appeal to their sense of common decency. But it was like arguing with particularly stubborn garden gnomes. They simply repeated their demands, their expressions unyielding, their voices laced with a sort of passive-aggressive malice. It was enormously upsetting. Don't you agree? The audacity, the sheer impertinence of it all. It wasn't the money, you see. I could have paid it, of course. But it was the principle of the thing. It was the blatant disregard for basic courtesy, the implicit assertion that my time, my comfort, my very existence were less valuable than their arbitrary rules. It was a statement, and a rather unflattering one at that, and it wasn't an isolated incident. Oh no, darling, it was merely the prelude to a symphony of incompetence. A few weeks later, friends were visiting and making a quick stop. Purely platonic, of course. They simply wanted to say hello, and the staff practically accosted them, insisted they leave immediately. Can you imagine the embarrassment, the sheer social faux pas? They acted as if my friends were lurking delinquents. The intrusion, my dears, was beyond rude. Now I'm a person of social stature, and I instinct.
Tively respond.
The reality of businesses near Premier in Dubai, Ibn Battuta Mall. If you're staying at the Premier in Dubai, Ibn Battuta Mall, you might assume the surrounding businesses would match the hotel's decent reputation. Unfortunately, that assumption would be wrong. The businesses here operate like a poorly rehearsed circus, chaotic, unreliable, and often leaving visitors feeling like they've been tricked. Let's start with retail. Stores near Premier in Dubai Ibn Battuta Mall seem to have a talent for turning simple shopping into a test of patience. Take Decathlon, for example. This place should be a haven for sports enthusiasts, but instead, it feels like a graveyard for defective equipment. Customers report leaking water bottles, broken tennis rackets, and bike repairs that somehow leave the bike worse than before. The staff, they treat complaints like an inconvenience, not their job. One employee even begged a customer for lunch money, claiming he hadn't been paid in months. If that doesn't scream red flag, I don't know what does. Then there's the spa scene. HVSS Spa promises relaxation, but delivers frustration. Massages here are less about skilled hands and more about therapists who chat on their phones, skip the oil, and laugh when you ask for firmer pressure. One reviewer described it as paying 250 AED to feel uncomfortable. The only competent therapist, Nana, must be drowning in requests, while the others treat the job like a social hour. Dining near Premier in Dubai Ibn Battuta Mall is another gamble. Shamiana, an Indian restaurant, has all the charm of a rushed wedding buffet, cold food, chaotic service, and a noise level that could wake the dead. Diwali celebrations turned into disasters, with overcrowded tables, delayed orders, and kulfi so frozen it could double as a hockey puck. Even the manager seemed powerless, which makes you wonder who's actually running this place. Coffee lovers beware. Arabica at JBR is supposed to be a specialty coffee shop, but reviews suggest they've mastered the art of disappointment. Customers report watered-down drinks, incorrect orders, and staff who act like serving coffee is a personal insult. One person paid 300 AED for 3 cups of basic coffee before realizing they'd been scammed. At those prices, you'd expect gold flakes in your cup, not indifference. Entertainment isn't safe either. Switch Bowling offers lanes with old, uneven balls and shoes that look like they've survived a zombie apocalypse. The staff overcharges, ignores technical issues, and once turned off the lanes mid-game for an unannounced iftar break. It's less fun night out, and more, how fast can we ruin your evening? Even quirky stores like Flying Tiger Copenhagen fail to impress. What should be a fun shopping experience turns into a battle with malfunctioning self-checkouts, missing letters on kids' bracelets, and staff who treat customers like suspects in a crime. One cashier refused to hand over already paid items, demanding customers return days later. For a store selling cheap trinkets, the drama is shockingly high-end. And then there's Mr. Toad's Pub Kitchen, where happy hour is neither happy nor accurately priced. Soggy fish and chips, hair in mashed potatoes, and staff who argue over beer prices. This place feels like a pub run by people who have never been to one. So what's the verdict? Businesses near Premier in Dubai Ibn Battuta Mall suffer from a chronic case of indifference. Poor service, deceptive practices, and a general lack of care plague this area. If you're staying here, manage your expectations, or better yet, venture further out. Because right now, the only reliable thing near this hotel is the likelihood of disappointment. End.
Okay, so I was looking into things around the Premier in Dubai Ibn Battuta Mall, just because, and honestly, it's kinda depressing what goes on. Businesses near there, they seem to expect tourists, and not in a good way. First off, there are these brokerage firms. They set up offices, really fancy ones, near where people staying at the Premier Inn might wander, and they try to get people to invest in Forex, but then they just vanish. Like one day there's an office, the next it's just dust and ripped wires. People, tourists especially, lost so much money. One person lost 50,000, can you believe that? They showed fake profits, just to get more money. I bet those people felt so stupid afterward, completely ruined their vacation and probably more than that. The police probably tried, but they likely just disappeared with the money, starting somewhere new maybe, probably laughing. Then there's all the fake luxury stores. You go looking for a nice bag near the Ibn Battuta Mall thinking you're getting a Chanel or something, and it falls apart the second you try to actually use it. A British tourist paid AED 5,000 for a bag that disintegrated. 5,000, it's just insane, right? How could someone do that? They probably just kept doing it, preying on people who don't know any better, moving to another shop when the complaints got too loud. They get away with it because people are already on vacation and Don T want to spend the time fighting it. And it's not just bags. There are electronics shops that swap out the phone you paid for with a cheaper, older model while you're not looking. You think you're getting an iPhone, but you end up with something less. I imagine the tourist probably argued, but they probably didn't get very far. Shopkeepers often threaten to call security. It's a power move, you know. They probably just moved on to the next tourist. Oh, and don't even get me started on the currency exchange kiosks. They're near Jebel Ali, so people heading back from shopping, or even those just staying at the Premier Inn, could use them. They give you way less money than you should get, claiming fees that don't exist. A Russian tourist lost almost 10 on 3,000. The kiosk gets shut down, sure, but it probably reopens under a different name next week. It's just constant. Finally, the gold souk, it's a little further, but tourists go. They swap out real gold for something gold-plated. Like they show you the good stuff, then switch it when they're packaging it. Someone lost AED 20,000. It's just so calculated. They probably just deny it, provide a fake receipt, and the tourist is